Bigfoot Society. We've got the privilege of talking to Mr. Carlos Abascal today. Carlos is a spiritual explorer and author and also Bigfoot experiencer. His most recent book that he's written is called Bigfoot, Dragons, Jesus Christ, and the Evolution of the Human Soul. And Carlos came up in a recent conversation with when I had Angelique Benham on the show. Listeners might remember that. So I reached out to Carlos, or we got connected somehow. It just was meant to be, and was able to get Carlos on the show, and we'll have some interesting things to talk about today. So welcome to the show, Carlos. How are you, sir? I'm doing really well, thank you. It's a cold day here in Bend, Oregon. Yeah, it's very sunny, but it's really cold. It's like in the teens right now. Is it really? Wow, so it's even colder than it is out here in Iowa. My goodness. Yeah. So you are in the middle of it all. You're out there in the Willamette National Forest. There's so many. I've had so many conversations with people about that whole area. I mean, everywhere from Oakridge to Paulina Lake is out there too. Yep. I believe it's all like I got Paulina Lake within maybe 30 minutes. Oh wow. There's this Cascade Lakes where just yesterday, day before yesterday, I found a whole section of impenetrable Sasquatch structures, one after the other. I mean, like here, I don't have any problems going. I don't even look for them. I don't like seriously. I want to go on a hike. I just want to go on a normal hike, and next thing I know, there's another massive structure. There's all kinds of stuff here. Like it's unreal by square mile how much you can find. They're everywhere. You go on a bike ride, there they are. You know, I go on a hike, there they are. I'm driving down, a dirt road, there they are. I mean, I have just thousands of pictures now. Like I always find structures, footprints. I recently recorded some vocalizations as well. I mean, it's just insane here. It's just, I can't believe that people even have to fight over areas because they're everywhere, like literally everywhere. Yeah. And people might, if you're not familiar with the Pacific Northwest, listeners might be like, well, that sounds like a little bit of exaggeration. It's definitely not, guys, because at Sasquatch Summerfest last year, and I'm going to keep this guy's name out of it, an older gentleman came up to me and he was like, I got to show you some pictures of what I've been finding out in a similar area. And so the stuff Carlos is saying is very similar to the stuff this other guy is saying. And it's like, it's not an exaggeration. It is that crazy out there. I mean, the Sasquatch stuff is literally everywhere and not even that far into the woods. So I almost think that in this area, the Sasquatch population, it's greater than in some towns. I mean, just by the amount of structures and the amount of forest that is here, just find them everywhere. Like it's just, you have Paulina Lake, you have the Cascade Lakes, which I just discovered a new area. You have Oakridge. You have the beach. The beaches. I've found structures at the beaches everywhere I've gone. Took a drive out to Washington. They're a little more spread out in Washington, but I was in the Willamette National Forest. And I mean, they have beaches there with structure after structure after structure after structure, and they're not man-made. I mean, beachgoers don't go around making these massive structures on the beach. And what I realized from talking to people out here, a lot of those beach structures are nurseries for their kids. So they make this structure, they put a perimeter around it. And some of them, an adult can't fit in there, or an adult Bigfoot wouldn't fit, but a child would, a child Bigfoot would. And they put them in there with a perimeter, and they go fishing, or they go hunting, or they go, do their thing. So I've seen, hundreds and hundreds. That one beach, for example, I mean, if you look at it, the entrance, it doesn't make any sense that a human would do that. The way that they're made, humans don't make that. They don't. It takes a lot of work. Those logs are 50 pounds, 20 to 30 to 50 pounds.
Sure.
You never see that happening. And I mean, that one particular beach, I counted probably about 70 structures, if not more, just there. And people just go sit around them and walk around, and they don't even have a clue. But those are nurseries. The Sasquatch have been putting their kids there while they go fishing,
Fascinating. That's around, so this is like Olympic National Park, Washington area?
Correct.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to go through a few others real quick. So is this more towards Oregon then?
That's Bend. Yeah, that's Bend.
Okay.
That's Bend as well. That one was, it's a trailhead, a biking trailhead, very popular, and that wasn't there earlier in the year. And all of a sudden, right at the trailhead, there it is, and it's got, I mean, a person didn't make it, and there's right around there as you're biking up to the trail, there's a lot of structures on the right, and people just go by them like nothing, And the thing with me is that I'm not out looking. I feel them, and then I see them, or I'll feel the footprint, and then I'll see it. And this one, for example, I was just going out for a hike out on the coast. This is on the coast. I had been to this area, and something told me to go uphill instead of downhill to the beach. And so I went uphill. Within less than a quarter of a mile, I feel the energy from this thing, look up, and there it is. So I had to scramble to get up there. And I mean, it's perfectly geometrical. Those logs were placed there. There has been no cutting. It's not a wind area. And it just gets crazier and crazier. I mean, and they have the same patterns all over the place. So yeah,
it's so wild. My goodness. And there's just a few more that I want to go through at this point. So that's a really cool picture. I mean, you have that X crossing right there.
Yeah, that one was, I would say, well over 100 feet high.
So then when you look at these, you're looking at the ends, I would imagine. They're not cut. They are broken off, I'm guessing, or what are you looking at?
So yeah, I always look at how the thing could have possibly have been put together. And normally what I find is they make those X's. They actually told Angelique that that's a place where they want exchange for entering their places, their home. So other people say it's energetic, but this is what Angelique told me from talking to the forest people directly. And a lot of those trees, if you look on the base, they're not attached to a root system. A lot of times they were pushed. You can tell that they were pushed. And see, when it's a landslide or wind or snow fall, they normally fall all like hair, like in one direction.
Right.
These you can find in every single direction. They're torn, they're pushed, they're placed in geometrical fashion to where, it's manufactured. As a matter of fact, I work in insurance claims. I work with insurance claims for roofing, and I'm pretty used to telling, like, those are massive trees that are making a kind of like a Masonic thing, but those trees are like well over 100 feet high each.
They totally kind of are. Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's what I didn't even. Yeah, now you pointed out, it looks very similar, doesn't it?
My height would be like at the bottom of the tree, the front tree, like really low. Those are massive trees. Like the size is just not, and the angles. That one, so that's interesting because that one is out. It's out in this area, but I had seen that one that same day on a presentation that somebody made for the Bend area. Well, next thing I know, I go out, I'm going out camping from there because it was like up the road from where the presentation was. And I wanted to go to a hot spring, and I happened to turn make a turn. Just felt like going down the road. I felt like I needed to make a turn. Made a turn to the right. Went to a parking lot. Look on my map, and on my map, up that road there was the trail to go to a hot spring. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to a hot spring, but I didn't want to go through all of the campsites on the edge of the thing. So I went up a trail, a hiking trail up above, and I ran smack into the thing. I mean, and this is a massive, it's a massive asterisk. I actually went and did a video examining, and those are trees that are upside down and placed there. That doesn't happen in nature, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at this picture right now, and that just does not happen the way that those are crossed. And it's almost like a big asterisk.
Yes.
It's so weird.
Yeah. So which brings me to what I've gathered so far in my travels with the Sasquatch. We live in a multi-dimensional universe, right? And so the Sasquatch move from dimension to dimension. They can be right in front of you and you don't see them because they vibrate at a higher frequency to where our eyes cannot detect them. Now, anything that has to do with the Sasquatch is not just scientific. I mean, I don't even care about proving whether there's an ape out there, because I already know that there's more to that than just, you know, they have been here before us. We're the hybrids. We have their DNA, but they don't have ours. Okay. And what I have run into with them is that they, in a sense, are teaching us to ascend spiritually. Okay. And I mean, this can get really esoteric. I'm not here to push any kind of belief, but at the same time, this is what I have heard from them, heard from people that have communication with them for years, like Kelly Rainbow, Butterfly, Kawani,
Lapsaritis.
Yeah, Lasparitis, and many others, right? So they show themselves to certain individuals that carry a higher frequency, and over time they lead people to learn things about them. The main thing that I have gathered, and that's why I wrote this book, it wasn't even like a book that I decided I wanted to write. It's just like I run into experience after experience after experience. Then I was led to go to Europe, run into the Sasquatch there. I wasn't even planning on going to Europe nor finding Sasquatch there. I just strongly felt like I need to buy my ticket. Okay. Didn't have an itinerary. And I landed in Spain, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to go from place to place and discover things. The people that I run into, 100% were receptive in Europe about the Sasquatch. 100%, every single person that and I'm not talking to every person that I run into, but every person that I actually had a conversation with happened to be spiritual people that were in tune with a lot of the different experiences that I've had. I come from a very extensive background in spirituality, where I started in as a Christian, and I describe all in my book, but then it eventually evolved into a lot of other experiences that did not fit the bill for the religion, right? And by this point, I've already done shamanic work. I've done a lot of work on healing the land, a lot of work in on different things that I was led to. I was basically making myself available to participate in whatever spirit wanted to do, right? So as things evolve in this trip, first person I run into is a girl that has spent years working on a specific healing modality for inner trauma, and she's a psychologist, And I told her about the Sasquatch, and she closed her eyes, tapped in, and he's like, yeah, they're real. They're talking to me, and they're taking too much space. So I told him not to, to back off and stop talking to me. So some people are that attuned to where they can actually tap in and communicate directly with them. Okay. For me, I feel them. I sense where their structures are, and I do. So I started. At first, I was led to start playing the flute, and I'm the kind of person that can pick up an instrument when spirit tells me to do it, and I just inherently know how to play it. Okay, and why am I talking about the music? Is because years ago I actually ran into shape-shifting alien that was actually formed into or cloaked as an older lady. And I had very long conversation with her about sound and about frequency and about intent and about the changes that were coming to the world and so on. And after a couple of hours of walking in the forest in Oregon, she uncloaked herself in front of me. And by this time, we had already done ceremony together. She whipped out some crystals. I whipped out my didgeridoo, and we're putting intention into the music, and we're playing together. And we're done. And she goes, "My husband's calling me." And I'm like, "You don't have a phone?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have to get going." And so we parted ways, and she was going to the left on a trail, and I decided to stay. And then she uncloaked herself. And the message about the music was that when you release sound, just like the spoken word, in the beginning, God said, let there be whatever, and it was sound released. In the same way, when we speak things, it carries a power and an energetic signature. When you play an instrument with an intention to connect with spirit, it releases that frequency onto the earth, onto this reality, right? Which this is way before I actually run into the Sasquatch. This is years before. And as I'm in Europe, one thing that I had learned from hanging out with Angelique was that, you need to introduce yourself to them when you go in the forest and let them know who you are and blah, blah. By now, I don't have to introduce myself. I just go there and they know I'm there and they know who I am everywhere, like worldwide. Right. She was telling me about how we need to, just let them know that we're in the forest and blah, blah, blah. And kind of ask for permission to go into the forest, into their home. Right. And they either, by your energetic signature, they can either accept you or reject you. And that's where the people that get bounced out of certain areas is because of their energy. A lot of times they're ex-military or something, somebody that has had, traumatic experiences or whatever. It's just the energy, right? So I had a miniature flute that I brought with me to Europe because I happened to, by this time I was doing a lot of land clearings and stuff. Still not really knowing what I was doing aside from introducing myself to them. And as I traveled from Spain, from southern Spain, from Sevilla, along the coast to Lagos, Portugal, which is in the Algarve, the southern part of that's up north. That's northern Spain. Okay. But I'm traveling to the south of Portugal, and I'm reading a book about nonviolent communication. I'm just going through different experiences of personal growth, and I had gone through, divorce. I divorced my wife 3 times. We divorced 3 times, and so it's like a personal growth thing. I'm in Lagos, Portugal. Read that book, and then I happened to go to Lisbon, and in Lisbon I had a couple of experiences that tested what that book was about, and eventually I ended up in in Sintra, Portugal. And in Sintra, Portugal, the very first person when I get off the train leaving Lisbon into Sintra was a girl that was doing tours on a moped. And I felt like I needed to go with her, and she was expensive. But she's telling me all about the, the area and the castles and whatever. And I told her about the Sasquatch. And I told her, she became really interested, and she asked me, so you're saying that you feel this way and that way, and you see this and that, and just repeating what I had told her. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I got to take you to the forest. She's like, can I pick you up in a couple of days? And I'm like, sure. So we exchanged information. She picks me up in her car on her day off and takes me directly where the Sasquatch were. Okay. So we get to the edge of the forest, and the Sasquatch, they have a way of letting you know that they're there. They can vibe you. They can make you sick. They can make sounds. They can, hit on trees, all kinds of things. But when we were entering the forest, I felt that same presence of them, and I said, they're here. We both felt it. We have the hair, standing up on our necks and everything. So I whip out the flute and I start playing. And as we enter the forest, steps from, not even probably 100 feet from where we started, Sasquatch structures. And I'm like, see that? That's a Sasquatch structure. I'm pointing out, and there's one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I said, I'm going to do a video. I took pictures, and I said, I'm going to do a video. And as I'm doing the video, this sound like an ambulance coming from the trees starts just going, woo, like super long, super loud. And the thing is that there were no ambulances there. Ambulances have a pattern where they make that sound, and they go, woo, 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 and they keep going and going down the road. This one was a single, woo, super long, and we're both looking, and it's coming from the trees. And I got it recorded.
We can play it right now if that's all right.
If you want to. I can't remember what I sent you. I know I copied and pasted a lot of stuff. And sometimes you can't even hear it on videos, or when I noticed that you put it on Facebook and it doesn't sound right.
Okay.
But let's see. All right. So here we are, folks, in the forest of Sintra, Portugal, with another structure that we just found. This tree right here, which is basically cut off here. And as you go up, the broken point is right there, but it doesn't come from anywhere up on top, and is making a perfect T with the roots up on that side.
Interesting stuff. You kind of hear something in the background too.
Yes.
Strain. Yeah.
It was super loud, but like the thing with audio is that it doesn't, it just sounds like far away, but it was like so loud that we were both startled, right? And that was when I first realized, wait a minute, they're here. They were literally making themselves known to us. Okay, really boldly. So we ended up walking down the trail, finding more and more structures. She takes me to a huge megalithic area where later, when I came back, I found out that the Sasquatch make those, right? So we had a whole series of experiences walking, and then after that, I just went to see the castles. The castles were amazing. There's a lot of mysticism in that area. That's the megalithic. And as a matter of fact, when I got to Bosnia, there was an excavation of the Bosnian pyramids with a similar rock across the top of that, like that one in the image, but this is in Bosnia. And that area right there in Bosnia. So the guide had told me that megalithic rock across the top, something came and broke that rock physically and to block the excavation. And they thought that it was because they weren't supposed to find whatever was in there. So this is fast forwarding to Bosnia. I mean, I run into the Sasquatch there at the bottom of the Bosnian pyramid, and it as I went to all these countries, I always played my flute. I always channeled, spirit of creator to anchor it in all those places, but I didn't know I was doing it up until I got to Rome. Okay. But here in Bosnia, it was really interesting because there were, I was telling the guide that the Sasquatch make glyphs. And so the picture down below from that one right there, she found it. And those are clearly glyphs from the Sasquatch. She says this wasn't here 2 days ago. We found where she was taking me 2 trees that had been recently broken from an area that wasn't reachable for people. And I told them, that's a tree that was broken by the Sasquatch. That's a tree that was broken by the Sasquatch. And she's like, those were not broken 3 days ago when I was doing a tour. Okay. So now I'm realizing that they're making themselves known again in Bosnia, right? They have recorded glyphs inside of the pyramid that closely resemble the runic glyphs that have been left at Angelique Sun's table in the forest in Idaho. And when you compare those to the ones, if you click down below, that next one below, that one, okay, those are extremely similar. Now, if you click on the next one down, to the ones they recorded on their table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can click back and forth and find a lot of similarities. Okay, so we're thinking they have some sort of an alphabet. And if you notice, a lot of those, for example, if you go, let's see, from the right, on that same picture, from the right, top right, count 3, and then count 3 down, and you'll see an asterisk. And that asterisk, you find it in structures everywhere. Next to the asterisk, you find the triangle with the post in the middle. That's the giant structure that we just saw earlier. To the left, you see that giant A. Okay, I found the giant A there. Down below, you see another X, and so on. I mean, these closely resemble, if they're not identical, to the Sasquatch structures, which we still don't know what they mean. People are still trying to figure out what the X means. When there's a whole alphabet out there of things that have that they're doing. The Y's, for example, you go on the second column from the right to left, almost to the bottom. There's 2 Y's. One of the stories from Ashley Stinnett. I don't know if you've interviewed her.
She was just at Area 58 in Oakridge. Yep.
Yeah, I was just there with her this last weekend.
Cool.
And she was talking about the story of the Ys. They would keep leaving this Y-looking sticks. I even found one in Bratislava, Slovakia, that had between the 2 upper parts, there was a ribbon, a cross holding a pine cone. And the pine cone apparently is very significant to them. They kept giving her pine cones, but the Ys, the message that she got from them is that the Sasquatch, they put a Y and then they put a picture of a Sasquatch, or I think it was a rock that resembled a Sasquatch, and then another Y. And what she got, I can't remember if it was mind speak what she got, or it was a realization of sorts, where the Sasquatch had said the Sasquatch are wise, meaning wisdom. But the 2 Ys sounds like wise, like wisdom. What I'm finding is that the Sasquatch, they're here to help us lighten up our vibration and ascend. It's all about ascension. Everything, the universe right now, the way it is, the world situation and everything, has to do with our personal vibration. We're splitting into a vibration of fear or a vibration of the new world, of what we're going to evolve into, the new earth. Okay, that you can translate it to like Christianese or whatever else you want. It's there. They got it on the Hopi prophecies. The Bible talks about the new heaven and new earth and all that. So we're at that point. Okay, and the Sasquatch are there to sort of guide us or give us that message that we need to be on the higher vibration if we want to eventually be part of that new world. Because how our vibration, when the split comes, where our vibration is where we're going to end up, in a nutshell. Right? Sure. So it's that's one of the bigger messages that I've gathered from them. So going back to the trip, I'm in let's see, I went to Portugal. Then I went to to northern Spain, and I ended up in Santiago de Compostela, which is that picture of the castle that you showed. In Santiago de Compostela is where the Camino de Santiago ends. It goes through Europe, and it ends there. And it's a very, very spiritual walk. Like people walk from France all the way, through forest and everything to get here. And a lot of them have the spiritual realizations of sorts. So what happens at the hostel there, because I just put my finger on the map and bought my ticket. I didn't even know where I was going until I got there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how I travel. I just don't, I feel where I'm supposed to go. Right now, I just found the Sasquatch in Portugal. I'm in northern Spain, and I get there and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the Camino de Santiago, right? It's like, surprised me, right? So I get there, and the first person that I meet there is a girl from Italy that has been working on cruise boats, and she was in between jobs and just traveling, and I told, she was a little bit sick, sitting in the living room there. So I happened to have some pills for oregano oil, and I gave her one, and she started feeling better, right? And I told her about the Sasquatch, and she's like, we got to go to the forest together. And I'm like, there's a forest just down the road. I saw on Google Maps, and there was one forest that's called Enchanted Forest, which is a series of labyrinths in the forest that lead to statues of different mythical creatures, right? And it's kind of the local thing, and it's literally a walking distance. I would say probably about a 3-mile walk from the hostel where I was staying, and my hostel was maybe less than a mile from this castle right here, from the cathedral, right? So we went there, and as soon as we get to the forest, again, the big X's, the trees, the footprints, and this is at night. So if you click down the picture down below, that one, no, the one on top, that was one of the first ones. That looks like the runes that we were looking at. Okay, that's in Santiago. Then that one below, the one with the footprint, that's in Santiago, right? So we're going on a hike, not looking for Sasquatch, and there's all these Sasquatch structures. If you click down below, there's another X. Yep, that was put together. Obviously, the structures are going to look different depending on the vegetation for the area. Uh-huh. So in this case, the trees were smaller, and it was more humid, and it was just different vegetation, right? If you click down, you'll see the type of trail. That one below. So we're walking down, and you can see the city, and then you click the one below, and I think there's an image there. Yeah, there's a cat.
Oh, weird. Is that a statue or? Yeah,
they're statues. So they're plays there for people to find. It's kind of like I don't know, like it's a game, right?
Yeah.
So then eventually she kept moving on to another city. I stayed there for another day, And I went to the opposite side of the city, and you can click on the picture right below that. And all of a sudden, in this area, I find these trees that were clearly broken by force. This is not a wind area. And it's exactly what the Sasquatch do everywhere I go. So I'm like, this is, and I felt them before I saw them. So I know that I can not only see them, but I feel the energy. And I literally got in my head, looked down for footprints, and I looked down, and you can click on the picture below, and there's a massive footprint.
Yeah,
there were several. There were several there. Okay, so now I'm finding more on the other side. I was actually looking for glyph. Okay, so long story short, I decide to go to another city in northern Spain, past Galicia, which I'm in Santiago de Compostela. I go to Galicia, and then from Galicia, I go to a town called Ferrol. And Ferrol is in the middle of the forest, kind of in the coast of northern coast of Spain. And when I was heading to the forest, I happened to text Angelique, and I said, I'm going to the forest. Can you ask the forest people if they want me to bring anything? Right? I never do that. And for some reason I thought that was a good idea. So she says, yeah, there's a fruit that looks like a watermelon that it's white inside, and it's got seeds inside that are yellow. Well, I went to the store looking for that fruit for like an hour, and nobody knew what it was. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm not going to take anything. I hike all the way to the top, and then I find these vines, follow the vines, and I find the fruit. And this is a local fruit from Spain that does not grow anywhere in the Pacific Northwest, nor in Idaho. She's never been out of Idaho or Oregon. And the Sasquatch showed her exactly that fruit. How would she know? Because the Sasquatch showed her.
Yep.
And I show her the picture, and she's like, yeah, that's it. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with it? And she goes, just break it and put it on a rock, as a offering. So if you click the picture up on top, that's exactly what I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What are the chances that she would know this fruit to begin with? Okay, it's crazy, right? So if you click on the picture, 2 pictures down, I'm starting to go down the hill after I did that, and I played the flute for them, and I started finding structures. If you click the one down, totally different vegetation, but look at that. Mm-hmm. Those were all twisted, okay? Roots were weaved onto the trees with the tree upside down, okay? Those are all in that same area. And I'm like, okay, so they're here. And eventually I found a whole forest of eucalyptus, and the eucalyptus tree is extremely hard to bend or break. Yeah. And it has a shallower root. And there was one eucalyptus that was clearly pushed over. I don't know if I sent that picture. And these are not eucalyptus, but okay. I took a picture of the eucalyptus that was pushed over the trail, which that's what the Sasquatch normally do when they don't want you to go through. And here they do that a lot. So the Forest Service constantly has to go and cut those trees so that vehicles and people can go through. Well, I found this footprint, and then I found this is a single track trail going back to the city of Ferrol in the middle of the forest. And on the left, there was clearly something came stumping through a bunch of plants and everything. You could see that there was something made, a trail made freshly. And then on my right side, there is a massive Spanish wall that had been there for hundreds of years, that is probably about 2.5 to 3 feet wide or thick. And something had come from the upper part, plowed through that wall, and then kept making the trail on the other side. Okay. And the thing is that this wall, in order for it to be plowed like that, you would need machinery. Okay. And all the rocks were on the outside of you have the trail, then you have the wall, and then you have the outside, which is, forest. And all of the rocks were on that side. It was a hole shaped like this. And then on the other side, you could see the trail going. And the thing, when I look at the rocks did not have moss. So it was recent that rock had been kicked down. Okay, so I'm finding more and more as I go. I'm in Ferrol, Spain, headed down through the southern part of Spain now to Merida. I went to a couple of cities, Segovia, the University of Segovia, and then Merida, and then went back to Portugal, to take my plane to Amsterdam. When I went back to, I ended up going all the way to. Yeah, I ended up going down to Sintra again, which is, so you have Porto, you have Lisbon, and then Sintra is on the coastal part of Lisbon. And then from there, I went to Porto. But when I went the second time, I actually rented a bike, an electric bike, went to the forest, and I just kept finding more and more and more and more and more. I mean, infinite amount of structures where they make like the huts, like the ones on the beach. And I asked the workers if they knew who made those or what made them. And they're like, we don't know.
Oh,
okay.
No idea. That's wild.
Yeah, they had no idea. So eventually I make it back to Porto and fly to Amsterdam. I spent the New Year's in Amsterdam, which was pretty crazy. Try to go, to forest and all that, but it wasn't too accessible. But then from there, I ended up going to Germany, to Munich. And then from there, I went to Vienna, Austria. And I'm an instructor on traditional Spanish swords. One of my students from Idaho have moved to Vienna to teach English. So he let me stay in his place, and so I was telling his roommates and him about the Sasquatch and what I found in my trip. Another girl says, I want to go to the forest with you. Okay, so now I'm seeing a pattern, right? Because every time I've been to the forest, there's a girl that wants to go there with me.
Yeah, I was noticing that. That's very interesting.
Well, this is the reason why. Energetically, when you are doing grid work, and grid work is basically, the way to explain it is to clear the land from any stuck energy in the land. Okay, could have been from a war, which there was a lot in Bosnia. Could have been from genocide, like here in the United States, and so on, right? So all that energy gets stuck in the earth. Okay. So we're in Vienna. Another girl wants to go, and then the download came to me that in order to effectively clear the land, sometimes you need a male energy and female energy to balance the energy while you're doing the ceremony, right? So now I got three women, three so far, that are with me, either taking me there or want to go with me to the forest. I find structures and then I do the energy work there. Okay. But at this point, I don't have a clue of what I just told you. This download came later, right?
Oh,
so I'm just
interesting.
I don't have a clue about that yet. I'm just doing it, but I don't have a clue. I don't have the explanation of what I'm doing, right? So I ended up going across the Danube River, biking with my friend later after I found some structures on one area of the city. Went to a completely different area to go see the more modern part of Vienna where they have the UN building and all that. And so we were biking along the Danube River, And eventually he said, well, I got to turn around because I got to go to work. And I'm like, okay. I looked on my map and I saw that there was a massive natural area there that was kind of like a hiking foresty type of thing. And I start finding structure after structure after massive ones. And there was one that was actually a very similar to one that I found with Angelique, where it's a funnel, and the Sasquatch scare the deer or lead them into this funnel. And as the deer go into the funnel, it starts twisting in all kinds of ways to where they get to a place where if they get spooked, they'll run into everything but the exit. And that's how the Sasquatch harvest this deer or animals. Well, I found the same thing in freaking Austria, a massive one with trees in a square that it's clearly an entrance after a grassy area, goes from the trail to grassy open area, funnels into this massive square. And then I was recording. I was like, this is a Sasquatch structure. Those trees don't belong there. Those are not even the same type of trees that are here. I mean, it was just a complete anomaly. And it's all same, broken trees. And they're clearly making a labyrinth. And when I'm recording this, there's another wood in the distance. Right?
Yep. Oh my goodness.
So you're now we're talking several countries, right? I end up going from Vienna, Austria to Zagreb, Croatia. And from Zagreb, Croatia, I went to Bratislava, Slovakia. Okay. Keep in mind, I don't have an itinerary. I'm just kind of going by what I hear or where I feel like going. Right. So I get to Bratislava, Slovakia, and I end up looking up on Google Maps, and there's a bus that takes you to the top of this mountain that is in the winter it's kind of like a ski area. It's not that big. And in the bus, there's a girl sitting on the other side, and it's just me and the girl, right? But she's on the other side of the bus. And when I get off the bus, she gets off with me. That was the last stop. We're at the top. And then I said, do you speak English? And she goes, yeah. And I said, are there any hiking areas around here? And she goes, yeah, I work here. I can take you to the hiking areas. Like there's hiking areas everywhere. Well, I started telling her about the Sasquatch, right? And immediately after when I told her, she just wants to know everything about him. And I said, they make structures like this, and that. And as we're walking, literally steps away, Sasquatch structures. And I'm like, that's them. Do you know who makes those? She goes, no, we think it's kids, but we never see anybody making them. They're right at the top of the mountain where everybody goes hiking next to the houses. And there's hundreds of them. They're everywhere. And again, I do play my flute with her nearby. And she wants to hang around because this is completely, like she now is starting to see what I'm seeing, because she goes by there and she sees it all the time, but she doesn't have a grid of what's going on. So just keeps walking. Now she sees what I see. We find structures, we find footprints, we find all of this stuff. And now she's blown away. She has to go to work and goodbye. And I keep going. So I spent, a couple of hours there walking around and everything. And I found more structures. I found more footprints. And literally when I was leaving, I felt behind me a wood. Okay. And the wood went right through my body. And I felt like they were saying goodbye. Like it made me almost start sobbing because it was so sweet.
Wow.
So I left Bratislava, Slovakia, now with another story about it. And the next stop was Bosnia. And the energy there is horrendous. Okay. I picked it up. So I'm crossing. The bus that I was on was a red eye bus. Okay, I was going to be dropped off in the town, I can't remember the name, but at 4 a.m. Okay, we cross into Eastern Bloc country outside of the UA, or what is it? The European Union. Okay, into Eastern Bloc. The road is super windy, is 20 degrees out there, snowing. The driver, like, it seems like there's roundabouts every 3-4 miles. And I'm sitting in the very back. I got sunglasses because they sometimes turn on the lights and I just want to sleep. And I'm with a bunch of Spanish students that are going to the area, right? And I don't even know how people didn't vomit, because we're going so fast. This cold is dark, it's pitch dark outside, it's snowing. And the driver's just going like crazy around these roundabouts. And we finally get to a checkpoint, Eastern Bloc checkpoint. They get everybody out. We're all out sitting in the cold, and they're interviewing everybody outside. Man. And when they get to me, they see that I've been to all these countries and that I have an American passport, and they start drilling me, right? And they just don't let me go. And I happen to blank as to where I had been. So they're asking me, where have you been? And I'm like, and I just could not remember. Long story short, they let us go. Now the Spanish students think that I'm some kind of terrorist. And I had a one of those Middle Eastern, like square checker things that they put on their heads. And
you
I'm
did?
sitting in I had
Oh, wow.
I had one. I didn't know
Okay.
what it was. I just thought it was cool, and I brought it with me, and I had it around my neck. Right?
Oh, wow, dude.
So I put it over my head, and I got my sunglasses, and I'm looking at them from the back of the truck, and they're freaked. I mean, they're freaked.
Yeah,
out, right.
They're freaked out.
So we go a few miles after the checkpoint. After they finally let us in, they stop the bus again, and they get everybody's passports out of nowhere. Okay. So we're there waiting. Everybody, I'm hearing them talking about me. It's like, he's probably, all this stuff. They think I'm a gypsy. They think I'm a terrorist. They think I'm all this stuff. And they finally bring the passports back. We take off. I look, and I get a notification on my phone saying, your data is out. If it continues, we're going to shut down your phone or something like that. It's in Spanish from a Spanish company. And I'm like, I just purchased enough to last me for months, and now I don't have a SIM card. Well, it turned out that everybody that was coming from the European Union, they tapped into all of their data, and they stole all their megabytes, all their pictures, all their everything in their phones, and nobody had signal. So now I'm like, okay, how am I going to get a hold of the lady that's going to give me the tour, right?
Oh, yeah,
she was
right.
supposed to pick me up. Well, at 4 a.m, I'm trying to think. And then I asked them in Spanish, if I could get a hold of her so that she can come over and pick me up. And they tell me that the Spanish students, now they know that I understood everything I said. They go, we all got the same problem. All of our data is gone, right? That's what happens in Eastern Bloc countries. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to think quick. So when I was in Germany, Spirit told me to buy a hammock. It makes no sense because it's the middle of winter, okay? And I buy a hammock, right? It's just like kept calling on, like, I got to buy this hammock. I don't know why. So I bought the hammock. I happen to have in my backpack ski pants because I've traveled through Spain. I skied in Sierra Nevada and all these places, and it was good to have ski pants, goggles, jacket, like an overlay for skiing. And so I had it with me. I had my pants, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to layer up. So I get dropped off at 4 a.m. My check-in is not until noon. It's 20 degrees out there in a one gas station, Eastern Bloc, war-ridden town. So right where they dropped me off, this is why I know that spirit was leading me, because the place where I get dropped off, steps from there are the only two poles where I can hang my hammock. Okay. Nice. And I put on my ski pants, all my jackets, my beanie hat, and I put an empty secondary backpack on the bottom, and get in my sleeping bag. I was told to bring a sleeping bag. Spirit told me to bring a sleeping bag, and with all those layers, I was perfectly fine until I slept. I mean, I slept for a few hours until right above my head in the morning, there is this speaker with Middle Eastern chants, like the prayer, like they
right.
like right above my head. And I wake up and all these people are going to work and everything. And I'm like, now I need to get a SIM card. The first person that I asked, some guy that didn't speak English, I told him SIM card. I need a SIM card for my phone. He's like, oh, right there. Steps from where I got dropped off. The only magazine shop in the town that had SIM cards. And then I get checked into the place, and it's a 2-bedroom, nearly remodeled place with 2 balconies that face the pyramid, right? And that's where we go on the tour. The lady comes over and picks me up, and we found structures at the bottom of the pyramid, not only on the outside, because did 3 different days, and that one lady was there with me when I was doing the flute playing and the ceremony. Another lady, right? So now we got them at the Bosnian pyramids. We got a whole area that I saw at the entrance of the tunnels for the Bosnian pyramids, where there's all kinds of Sasquatch structures right there. And they had not touched that place. They had a whole park, a metaphysical park with pyramids and medicine wheels and stages and statues of fairies and everything. And right next to them, there's an area that they had not touched that has Sasquatch structures and footprints.
Oh, man. They just didn't know what to look for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She went to the bathroom and I said, look at that, when she came out. And we went to check, and she's like, it looks like something came and destroyed, this place. And you got your broken trees, you got your footprints. I mean, everything in the same patterns as what I'd been finding everywhere, right? So from there, I felt like I needed to get out of there, because there were more graveyards per square mile than anywhere I've seen. I felt like I need to get out of there. I did. So this is really crazy. On the day after I went to that site that looked kind of like a Stonehenge type of thing in Bosnia.
Right.
When we went to the top, the day when I was supposed to climb the pyramid, the massive pyramid of the sun, it was the coldest day, iciest roads, and super foggy. Okay. And she's like, it never gets like this. She's like, I'm wondering if we can even make it up there. So we made it up there, and she's like, it's too muddy, I can't get up there. She's like, just follow a trail and you'll get up there. And I'm like, I got my flute. I'm like, well, I had the whole pyramid to myself. I get to the top of the pyramid, and it's like, literally, I found the top, and they have like a massive well. I don't know what it's for, but it's on the top of the pyramid. It's a round well surrounded by a square perimeter. And when I'm taking pictures, Spirit tells me, start doing your grid work. And what came through was so freaking powerful, I can't even describe it. I use something called light language, which is kind of similar to tongues and Christianese, but a lot of people use it. It was just powerful. And the time was 11:33 a.m. on U.S. inauguration day. And I have the whole pyramid to myself to do grid work. And the prayer that came through was to bring down all those powers that shouldn't be. At the pyramid, at 11:33 on inauguration day. You can't make that up. I mean, I have been to Guatemala, the pyramids in Guatemala, where without planning it, I get there at night on a tour of the pyramids on sunset, and it happens to be the solstice. And then the next morning they pick us up, and we're there at the pyramids on the morning of the solstice, and we didn't plan it. Okay, I was traveling with a friend. This time I'm at 11:33 a.m. on U.S. Inauguration Day, and I got the whole pyramid to myself. And when I started playing and doing my prayer, she says, because there's a big distance between the parking lot and the last house is where the parking lot was and the top of the pyramid. She's like, you were so loud that all the animals were started going crazy when you started playing.
Oh, that's interesting. Really?
Yeah, they all started going crazy when I was up there. So I finally get out. I went to Split, Croatia, and completely. I mean, as soon as you cross the border into Split, it's like you're on vacation. It's like there's no death in the air. Okay, it's a massive energy shift. So every area has an energy shift. If you go through different parts of, let's say, LA, you go through different cities and they all have a different vibe. You know, this was massive, right? It was like from death to life. Like seriously, Bosnia has such a bad bad energy. And the thing is that the pyramid, inside of the pyramid, there's this massive rock that people, so the whole time, all of the tunnels lead into chambers that were made for meditation, and people go there and meditate and come out healed physically. Okay.
That's
why I wanted to go to the Bosnian pyramids.
Okay. Yeah.
Years ago. Okay. So this massive rock, you look at it and there's benches all around. And they said, this rock is not natural. And I'm like, really? It looks like a rock to me. They're like, no, this somehow was made and put together with rocks that in alloys that are not from this planet, that the combination of them amplifies the healing energy. And that is the energy inside of the pyramid. So I'm out at the top, channeling these prayers, connecting with the pyramid, connecting with those rocks down below, and shifting the polarity of the energy there.
Man, I've never heard of that before. That rock being inside that pyramid. That's really, I mean, I'll have to look into that. That is,
I can send you the picture. I can send you the picture. I don't even know if I did or not, but I probably did actually. If you look under Bosnia,
let's look real quick.
I think I may have sent it to you. So the download that I got was that later I get to, I'm in Split, Croatia, where you look. And I rented a bicycle to go explore the city, and I end up in the mountain. And right there, I'm at the very top. You can see the sea on both sides. It's absolutely beautiful. I get led to start playing the flute up on top. There's a big cross there. And when I'm heading down on my bike, I feel like stop and go to the right. So I go through the right, bushwhack, and I get led directly to a tree that's bent. And at the bottom of the tree, there is 4 pieces of quartz that were placed there. There's no quartz anywhere. And they're in form, like there's one on top, 2 on the sides, and 1 in the middle at the base of the broken tree. That's clearly a Sasquatch thing. And I took a video. Okay.
Man.
So I did another activation there. And now I'm realizing that all of these places are connected by ley lines. And the ley lines are kind of like the energetic veins of the universe. Okay. They connect different monolithic structures and monuments and everything. And now it's making sense that they're connected energetically. So you do energy work in one and it spreads everywhere. Right. Or there is and so it gets crazier, right? So I did this. I go to Trieste, Italy. Okay. And I stayed there for a few days, and I was shown to go to this massive, it is the biggest cave system in Europe. It's 5,000 steps to get to the bottom. It's a guided tour. It's raining cats and dogs. I'm there just with a family of Russians going through the town after getting off the bus. And we get there, and it's just us. And it's been raining to where it's almost flooding, but it's not quite flooding. But I mean, you see a lot of water coming down. And we go on the tour, and I'm like, the girl that this is in Italy, so I asked the girl there, I wonder how the acoustics are here. She's like, oh, we have concerts here and the whole thing. I mean, this is massive, like 5,000 steps to get down. I mean, you see for at least a couple of miles to the other side of the cave, just from where you can see, okay? And this connects with Croatia, right? So I asked her, can I play my flute? And she's like, yes, please. So I whip out my flute, and my flute has got, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got this symbol, okay? It's the same symbol as this symbol right here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's the symbol of the Trinity, right?
Yep.
That's the symbol that I put on my book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started playing the flute there. She's like, oh yeah, she recorded the whole thing. She's like, that's crazy. She's like, I have the same tattoo of that same thing on my foot. So she had it on her ankle.
Okay. Wow.
What are the chances, right? So now we got a female. I'm doing energy work inside of the biggest cave system there. Did find structures there. And then I go to Rome, right? After a few days, go to Rome. This is where I got the download for everything that I had been doing so far, because at this point, I kind of had a clue, but I don't know exactly what is leading to. And that's how the Sasquatch teach you, right? So when I get to Rome, I took a bus, and I felt like I needed to go to the Vatican, which I had already been to the Vatican before on other trips, but I really felt like I need to go. And I felt like I was going to do grid work there. So I get off the bus to see a fountain that I hadn't seen by a park that I haven't, it's not like a regular touristy area. And Spirit told me, get off the bus, go look at the fountain. Went to look at the fountain, played a little bit my flute, nothing really crazy. I missed the next bus, and I'm like, I'm going to walk across the park. So I look on the map, and the park is the park that has all of the statues of this horned devil thing, and it's got all this fountains that when you walk by, you see different statues appear depending on the angle, and it's in a cave. And so I go there, and there's all kinds of depictions of this horned being, with hooves and everything else. And that park is dedicated to this entity, right? So I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I keep going down the trail trying to get to pick up the bus on the other side of the park, and all of a sudden, I feel this pull to the left. And I'm like, it just goes right into some trees, and looks like there's a fence on the side. And I feel that same pull. I turn around, and I'm like, I wonder if there's going to be Sasquatch here, because that's what I feel when they want to lead me to a structure. I go down to the end of the trail, and it's just a little tiny trail, probably made by workers, because there's nowhere to go except for that fence. And the fence goes around. There's a building probably for maintenance for the park. And right smack there behind the fence, there is a massive Sasquatch structure. This is in a park in Rome. There's the X, and then there's a massive asterisk on the ground. And I'm tripping balls about this, because this is in the city, in Rome, not in the forest. And I was led there. Okay. So I videotaped it, and that's where I got the download. What the Sasquatch told me is that they make all these structures because humans are making all these castles and all these different rituals to maintain power. Okay, it's all about power. It's all about energy. So when they make these structures, and the humans make these structures or these cathedrals or this, massacres or whatever else, it holds an energy, right? So there is entities here now, aside from humans and Sasquatch, that feed off of negative energy, and they're separated completely from source. So the only energy that they can get is the energy that they harvest from humans or the suffering of animals or whatever else, and that's where all these rituals come from. Okay, and what I was shown was that one person that is connected to source, okay, one person that is connected with spirit, and that can be any one of us. It doesn't make anyone special, okay? And this is the main point, is that I'm no more special than you. If you choose to connect with spirit, you have the same power, and you'll hear whatever you have to say. Just go with it, right? Because spirit is doing it through you, okay? They're telling me that one person can change the whole magnetic or vibrational makeup of the portals that are there, and that the structures, this is the Sasquatch telling me this, the structures are, the Sasquatch, I find out later that the Sasquatch are keepers of portals, and this is from people that already have years talking to them. The Sasquatch are keepers of portals. Well, they're telling me that one person, again, connected with spirit, can shift whole areas, whole cities, whole countries, just by listening first and doing what spirit's doing, and then you're just basically the voice. And the Sasquatch tell me that where they put these structures is on ley lines that counteract all of the human stuff that's going on. So it's a war. It's a competition for energetic presence of sorts, right? So I end up doing ceremony there, and this is sitting, the altitude is higher than the Vatican. I make it to the Vatican, okay? Went to eat, went to the front courtyard where they have the obelisk and that whole thing. And then Spirit says, you're going to go through the Vatican and you're going to do the same work. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm at the front court. And when I hear this, I look at my phone, and it's 3:33 p.m. on January 30th, 2025. This is this year, okay? And what's even crazier is that not only the time is 3:33 p.m., which means alignment with source is the same, as the symbol, three edges, but the clouds are completely shut. You can see light, and it's cloudy, but kid you not, they open and this rays hit me in the face twice or three times, and then they close back up. And I'm like, that's my signal. So I start playing in the front yard, okay, my flute. And all the guards and everything turn around and smile, like it's the greatest thing. So one of them comes up and says, you know that we have a free tour. If you go stand over there and follow that line, you can get in for free. So I went through the whole Vatican.
Mm-hmm. Playing the flute?
Not playing the flute, but speaking in light language and channeling under my breath, because I didn't know if you were, allowed to play, and I didn't want to,
right.
I'm kind of under the radar here. you know what exactly. I mean? Came out at 4:44 p.m.
Oh man.
What are how do you even come up with, how do you make that stuff up, right? You can't.
It's a man. And the wild thing is that there's so much more in the book as well. I mean, that's like the Cliff Notes version, and then like there's more. You can really dive in if you read the book, which
that book when I came back, Spirit told me in so many different ways, sit down and start writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the whole book on my phone.
Oh, wow. Really?
20 something chapters on my book. I couldn't stop writing.
Yeah.
And literally, this book is an activation. It's something supernatural that my prayer is that the right people read it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because it brings everything together. I mean, I didn't even talk about the dragons and
I was gonna say the dragons haven't even come up, but that's why I mean, if you want to hear about the dragons, you got to read the book. I mean, it's a lot in there, and your some more Bigfoot experiences, they're in there too. Yeah.
Yes, it's and I feel that there's going to be a second book because everything has been evolving into stuff that is just so wild. I don't have. It's just super crazy. I don't know. I mean, it's just wild. I mean, you've heard this so far, and this is just footnotes.
Right. It is quite the journey. But Carlos, I'm glad you were able to come on the show and to share, some parts of your journey so far. Thank you so much. Do you mind spending a few minutes talking about easiest way to pick up the book, how to contact you if people have questions or etc.?
They can get it from Amazon, but the thing is that if people want to get a hold of me or they want to be on my list for any updates, it's better that they use that link, because with that link, not only do I get the full commission, but also it builds a database of people that I can stay in contact with, which most publishers don't. Amazon and all that, they keep all that information and they sell it. This in particular will keep me in contact with people, and then if I have any activations, which I plan, I think that's what's going to happen, is we're going to have some sort of activation happening, and when I release the other book and whatever else. I mean, this is not something that I created. How do you even plan on going to Europe without an itinerary and come up with all this? This is not planned. This is something bigger than all of us. And the crazy thing is that the Sasquatch are there, like at every step.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I encourage anybody that wants to dig into this, and I don't have words for what I'm living. It's just on a day by day.
Wild stuff, Carlos. And we'll definitely have to keep in touch, but thank you again for coming on the show. And we'll definitely be watching to see what other steps your journey takes in the future. But you have a great rest of your afternoon. Thanks again for chatting today, Carlos.
Thanks a lot, Jeremiah.